The most dangerous experiments ever done. Some of history's most dangerous experiments weren't run by villains in secret labs. They were run by respected scientists, government doctors, and Nobel-track researchers who were certain they had it under control. Here are 4 of the most dangerous experiments ever conducted, and what happened when they didn't go as planned. The Demon Core at Los Alamos, New Mexico. In the final months of the Manhattan Project, scientists kept a single sphere of plutonium they nicknamed, only half-jokingly, the Demon Core. It had already killed once. In August 1945, physicist Harry Daghlian was stacking neutron-reflecting bricks around the core alone, late at night, when he dropped one. The core flashed blue and went briefly critical. Daghlian died 25 days later of radiation sickness. 9 months later, the same core killed again. On May 20, 1946, physicist Louis Slotin was showing colleagues a procedure nicknamed tickling the dragon's tail, slowly bringing 2 halves of a beryllium shell together around the core, using a screwdriver to keep them from fully closing. His hand slipped. The shells snapped shut. The room filled with a flash of blue light and a wave of heat. Slotin, an expert in exactly this kind of accident, knew immediately what had happened. He yanked the shells apart with his bare hands, absorbing a fatal dose of radiation to shield the 7 colleagues standing behind him. He spent his final 9 days describing his own decline to doctors so they'd understand exactly how radiation poisoning unfolds in a human body. He died on May 30th, 1946, at 35 years old. After his death, Los Alamos banned all hands-on criticality experiments for good, replacing them with remote-controlled machines. The dimethylmercury drop. In August 1996, Dartmouth chemistry professor Karen Wetterhahn was working under a fume hood, studying how toxic metals damage human cells. While transferring a small amount of a compound called dimethylmercury, 1 or 2 drops landed on her gloved hand. She wasn't alarmed. She was wearing standard latex lab gloves, and she followed every safety protocol on record at the time. She cleaned up, finished her work, and went home. 5 months later, she started losing her balance. Her speech slurred, her vision blurred. By the time doctors diagnosed mercury poisoning, the level in her blood was 80 times the toxic threshold. Investigators later discovered what nobody had known. Dimethylmercury passes straight through latex gloves in seconds, as if they weren't there at all. Despite aggressive chelation therapy, she slipped into a coma in February and died on June 8, 1997, at age 48. Her death rewrote lab safety standards worldwide. Dimethylmercury is now considered too dangerous to handle outside of specialized, fully sealed equipment, and the gloves she wore that day are no longer considered safe for any toxic compound. The Tuskegee Study. In 1932, the United States Public Health Service enrolled 600 black men in Macon County, Alabama, in what it called a study of bad blood. 399 of them already had syphilis. The other 201 didn't, and served as a comparison group. The men were never told they had syphilis. They were never told the study's real purpose. In exchange for free meals, free checkups, and burial insurance, they were quietly enrolled in an experiment designed to track, in real time, exactly what untreated syphilis does to the human body over decades. By 1947, penicillin was the standard, widely available cure for syphilis. The men were never given it. The study's own doctors withheld treatment deliberately. For 40 years, even as the men went blind, lost their minds, infected their wives, and passed the disease to children born during the study. It only ended in 1972, when a leaked report finally reached the press. By then, at least 28 men had died directly from syphilis, and around 100 more had died from related complications. In 1997, President Clinton issued a formal apology to the study's last living survivors, calling it what it was, a betrayal carried out in the name of science. The Plutonium Files. Between 1945 and 1947, while the world was still learning what an atomic bomb actually was, Manhattan Project doctors had a quieter question. How long does plutonium stay inside a human body, and how much of it does damage? To find out, they injected 18 patients with plutonium. None of them knew it. A construction worker named Ebb Cade, recovering from a car accident in Tennessee, was injected without his knowledge while hospitalized. A 4-year-old boy flown in from overseas for cancer treatment was injected too, his parents believing he was simply receiving care. None of the 18 patients gave informed consent, because none of them were told what was actually in the syringe. The doctors weren't trying to cure anyone. They were measuring how plutonium moved through bone and tissue, and how long the body took to excrete it, data they wanted to protect nuclear workers and soldiers going forward. The program stayed classified for nearly 50 years, until a Pulitzer Prize-winning newspaper investigation forced it into the open in the early 1990s. In 1995, a federal advisory committee confirmed what the records already showed. None of the subjects had consented, and most never even learned what had been done to them while they were alive. None of the scientists in these 4 stories thought of themselves as reckless. They thought they were careful, methodical, and in control, right up until the moment the data started costing lives instead of just measuring them. Some of what we now consider basic safety only exists because someone, somewhere, found out the hard way.